really good.
Okay, we're going to start here. Hello, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don Pelto here. I have Mr. Rem Jackson, and we're going to talk a little bit about masterminding, Rem.
Well, it's my favorite topic. I started Top Practices in 2007 because, especially at that time, there was very little for podiatrists in terms of marketing their practice. There's a lot about management. I mean, we are here recording this at the AAPPM meeting in Florida. And,
Lago Mar, you should come.
Exactly. Yeah. Next year in November, come here to Fort Lauderdale at the Lago Mar Resort. You should come. It's a tremendous meeting, and so there's always been this group. I mean, this group's 55 or more years old.
So this is the AAPPM, but so this has been around for a long time, but there had never been a smaller group, kind of like what you developed. You don't call it. You call it a mastermind. Your group?
Oh, I definitely call it a mastermind.
Called Rem's Mastermind or Top Practice.
Yeah, it's
Mastermind.
not. In fact, it's not Rem's Mastermind. It is the mastermind group that is the doctors of Top Practices. Because I'm a facilitator. I'm a guide. I'm a coach. I do all of those things. But at the end of the day, this is truly their group for them because they have an ever-evolving, and I have people that have been with me for almost now 17 years, and they have an ever-evolving set of issues and problems. So, for instance, we're rolling along in 2019. Almost every one of my doctors was having probably their best year they've ever had. And then 2020 comes along, and the whole focus just entirely shifted in terms of what we had to do to get through all of that together. And they just shared. I had much more intensive meetings during that time, longer, more frequent because it was needed. And so, and they've kind of invented some of the things on the way through to how do we solve. But the greatest thing is they just share. I mean, that's a problem for most people is, well, let's talk about my doctors as an example. Most podiatrists are frustrated because they feel, they know, at some level, they know they are inside a broken medical system that in many ways has sort of abandoned them as professionals. And so they have this thing, that's kind of sitting around out there and they don't know, where do I go, what do I do, where do I turn? And they hear doom and gloom from
loneliness.
Every corner. They're incredibly lonely, they're isolated, and it's not anywhere nearly as difficult or bad as they think it might be. And, they're predicting, the pundits are predicting that private practice, is eventually just going to go away. And I happen to not buy into that at all. This is a vibrant group down here. By the way, AAPPM stands for the American Academy of Podiatric Practice Management. But they work together. And so masterminding it was coined, the best I know, by Napoleon Hill, which is basically that you have a set of skills, intelligence, experience. I have another set of skills, intelligence, and experience. When we work together, like-minded people, towards a common goal, which would be both of our success, that something greater is created. And he calls that the mastermind. And he can get pretty esoteric about that, but the fact of the matter is, it lifts you up when you need it, you share back. And that's the thing, my doctors just are so happy to be able to share, hey, I did this. This is really working for us. And you
celebrate for everyone. You celebrate everyone. Now, let's go back and talk about in the beginning when it started. What were your feelings? Like, is it going to take off? Are people going to be interested? Are they willing to pay? What's the process? Like, is it you educating them? Or like, how has the format changed over the years?
Well, that's drastically changed. The way I often will put this is in 2007, I was really focused very much on business development and marketing. And so the question of the day in 2007 was, do you think I need to get a website? That's sort of where we were. And we had these static websites, which were basically brochures online. And one of my messages at the time was, the yellow pages are a dinosaur. They're going to go away. And the pushback I got on that was enormous. It's like, no. The yellow pages. By the way, for those of you that don't know,
what the yellow pages are,
it was a book they used to deliver to your house. You kept it in your kitchen and you could find things. And then, of course, Google totally destroyed all of that, and but that's where we were. I mean, now we're in, much more sophisticated in terms and the ease in all of it, right? So you still have to really make good decisions about who's going to help you with your website and how you're going to do that. But a website's, I would always say, the center of the target. It's the mothership that everything works through, and that has to be right. You have to have good offers, good information. But now, we're the things we're doing. We've developed a marketing calendar for our doctors that is really something that makes it easy to think. Really, 2 months out, what are we going to be focusing on in February? Okay, well, if February is going to be, heel pain month, then, what are we going to be? How do we schedule it? How do we get it all set to go? And there's so many tools now. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing.
There are some great tools, and I was talking to one of your members, Andrew Schneider, and he had a great tip. And this is what I find everyone that talks about doing information marketing, just being consistent in the production of content, whether it be a video or a blog. And once a week is usually the sweet spot, and then finding your calendar.
Well, I have to say with social media, you should be on it every day. And that doesn't mean you, doctor, should be on it every day. But your posts and your videos and different things should be a daily occurrence in that regard.
But you can pollinate. You can make one piece of content. It's just if you're listening, 1 8 or 10 minute piece of content and cut that up. Do a minute slice for your whatever this stuff is called now, Instagram, and then your TikTok, and so you can use the same content and just repurpose it. That's the key.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can come back around and recycle it too, because if you do, like, people will often say, well, I already did that for heel pain, and I thought, yeah, last year or 6 years ago, but for goodness sakes, more people woke up this morning and have heel pain. And how are they going to find you? So
what's the format of if no one's been exposed? We were talking a little bit before. I'm involved in one type of a mastermind. This is mastermind. Is it you meet once a week? Is it once a month? Is it for an hour? Because every doctor is busy. What happens if the doctor say, doc, like I'll tell you personally, I'm thinking, gosh, do I have time for another mastermind? And with my kids, and do you have to be live? Are there recordings? Things like, is it held on a portal? Just go a little bit behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that I could say that I had a master plan when I started this out, and I sort of, in the beginning, I think, stumbled into the formula that I've used ever since, and you're right about that. So for the marketing side of things, when we're sharing, we're teaching, and we're really coaching, I do that 2 times a month.
Okay.
I do those on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, and those are attended by my doctors, but most of my doctors wait till the next day and get the recording. And so we just, we have what I call the Top Practices Library, which I also say in a joking way, but I think it's actually true, is the greatest repository of podiatric marketing information in the known universe.
So if they join today, they get access to your library.
From the year 2007. Wow. Yeah. And it's organized pretty well too. So that's the great thing. Yeah, you don't miss anything. I mean, it's all there, and so we do that twice a month, and
it's marketing focused.
That's marketing, marketing, business development focused. Yep. Almost.
You talk
always.
The whole time, or you get other people in there?
Yeah, I am not the star of Top Practices. It's my doctors.
So you invite the other doctors. Hey, what's working, Andrew? What's working?
Exactly right. Yeah, and that, I mean, we're we just had an incredible. I awarded Dr. Breck Tiernan in Joliet, Illinois, the Top Practices Innovator of the Year award, and I'm telling you, Don, you wouldn't believe the stuff he is doing in his practice that is so innovative and so fun, when he put this presentation together, I mean, I just know what he's doing because I speak to my members monthly, and that's why I gave him the award. But he when he put it together, it's all about his. I'll use the word obsession with customer service, and how he believes that his staff is really the one that's going to do that.
That's cool. So then so those are twice. What about the other? Is that just twice a month, or what else is going on there?
And then once a month, and you're asking about behind the scenes.
Yeah, I want to.
I have one other call, and I share that now with an attorney by the name of Dave Fries. He's a probates, trust, and estates attorney, and a entrepreneur and just an incredible
isn't it Black Ops guy?
person.
Is that the?
It's Black Ops.
Okay.
Yeah. Dave Freeze,
Yeah.
Business Black Ops, and he is just delightful. But that's what I call the mindset call. So on that call, I mean, here's something I know. I know that successful people do the same things, read the same books, take the same steps, and build their day so that they can do it over and over and over again. Because the key really is, as we mentioned before we went on the air, consistency.
Yeah, it's your morning routine, your evening routine, your habit stacking.
Now evolving, right? So what I used to do was I would print all of those 3 calls on CDs, and I would mail them in the mail to my doctors.
You're kidding me.
And because it turned their cars into professional development studios, and then it was a number of years ago. Then they said the last car's coming off now with CD players there. I'm like, what am I going to do? So now it's all streaming, so we have it all set.
Is it like a podcast setup where you log into a portal or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
and then you
like
do a monthly call with all your members too, just like a coaching call, right?
Yeah, they can. Every one of them has access to me to do that, and I'm still the I'm still the coach in that side of it. But what happened then about 5 years in, I found out that if you really load up an office with a lot of patients, and they don't have their protocols, their procedures, their management part, all the things that no one taught them how to do as they were being prepared to be highly trained doctors. No one gave them a single business course on how to make this thing run. And we needed to do that. So I asked Dr. Peter Wishney from New Jersey and Tina Del Bono from Santa Rosa, California, to really become coaches on the management side. How do you run the clinic? How you run the, how do you, just scheduling all the rest of it.
Okay. And when do they talk? Or is it?
Well, they have their own programs inside this. We have a secondary membership called, which you can combine with the mastermind, called the Virtual Practice Management Institute.
Okay, cool. So there's like two. Okay, yep.
Two sides to it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then from there, is theirs the same thing, like a monthly call? Let's go behind the scenes of theirs too.
Theirs is organized a little bit differently.
Or is it like a 12-week course or a 3-year course?
No, there's the Virtual Practice Management Institute, and I'm being very humble when I say this, is a master's level, extensive. I mean, what we've built is the definitive podiatric management tool. I mean, it's endless. What do you need? We have videos, documents, all tools.
Coaching calls, everything else.
Yeah, they have coaching calls every month. And then and very often they will engage with and do some private coaching and just help people really get stuck through a particular problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know about. I saw them on your website, but I didn't know how that was intertwined.
Oh, it's robust. I can't. That content was built and developed by Peter and Tina, and we just organized it all. It is remarkable.
If those that haven't heard, I don't know if you heard this quote when we study like Dan Kennedy and different things. They talk about investing in yourself, and this is the one thing I think it's helped me more than anything. They said invest about 10% in yourself. You've probably heard that quote as well. Right?
Sure.
And so if you make $200,000, you should be investing $20,000 in yourself. So I actually find it hard sometimes to spend all the money that I should to invest in myself. But I also find the rewards, are just extraordinary. Talk a little bit about people investing themselves. Because some people think it's $5,000, it's $10,000, it's $2,000 a month, or whatever. How do you get over that mindset?
Well, Top Practices is $397 a month.
That's what you do. You talk about it's 100 times more, then you cut it down to what it really is.
That's what it is, right? And
which is too cheap, but you don't have to go anywhere, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, right. I'm quite satisfied with all of it because it makes it accessible to people that really truly need this. And
that's $2,000 a year, guys. That's.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's. Investing in, you're your number one asset. If you aren't at the top of your game, if you aren't sharp, just ask yourself, how do you feel now? And if you're feeling frustrated, maybe I don't know what to do. If you feel like you might feel isolated or lonely, you have to find a way to connect with other people. And that's the whole principle. Listen, I was in a mastermind very early on with some very good people that were building their businesses at the same time. Without that, I don't believe, given the challenges that I faced, because we all have, every one of us has problems. I mean, I always say this, we all get 3 stink bombs a year, and it's just like, oh, that's terrible. Oh. And but we all survive them. But if you think that you're the only one that had most of your staff quit on one day, or you
can't find staff, or
you can't find staff, believe me, you're not. You're not the only one. That's the number one issue everybody's dealing with now. And by the way, in my opinion, there is no labor shortage. You just aren't looking the right way at the right places. So, I mean, and some of my doctors developed some really good protocols for this. We're all using Indeed wrong. How do you use it? So that's one of my doctors cracked the code, and now we just share it with everybody. So you have to get connected. I mean, I have people that have been with me for 17 years, almost, and they're connected because, I mean, we are swimming, Don, and you know this, in an ocean of negativity. It is serious.
I don't listen to, I stop, the marketing guys talk about stop watching the news. I haven't watched the news in 20 years.
Yeah.
There's too much, it's all negativity, Rem.
Yeah. It's an incredibly, you would think, look, the United States is a total and complete mess. It was in 1776. It will be in 2076. It's just the way the world is. But just the question is, what are you going to do with this day?
And how does it affect you?
Right. So you have to protect your mindset. I mean, that's why, actually, if you want to know the key to top practices success, it's that we foster and share and support a positive mindset. If you're looking to be a positive person, you should check out Top Practices. If you really think the negative part of things is the way you want to go, which is, by the way, most people.
And you're going to feel like if you're in a pee party and you go to people that are positive, you're not going to feel good there.
No.
You're going to know either it fits you or it doesn't fit you, because you're not going to feel good in the room.
Yeah, and I repel a lot of people, that think, oh, come on. Could it possibly be? And yet, the ones that I'm interested in working with have this thought that, well, could it be? Could it really be? That I could have a very profitable practice that earns me an extremely good income, and not have, by the way, not have no stress. There's no such thing. If anybody tells you you're going to have a stressless time running your practice or your business, they're not telling you the truth. There's always stuff. But Seth Godin said something that I think is great. Life is about solving interesting problems. And that's what we have. Interesting problems that can be solved.
I was, who the heck was it I was reading? It was someone similar to Seth. They talk about what you do is you take your number one problem every morning, you write it down, and you write out 20 solutions.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
You take your one problem and you just do it every single morning.
Yeah.
And not that you're going to do all of those, but it gets your mind thinking about solutions. So I'm a big believer in journaling and writing out problems and, thinking on paper. Think on paper. What are your problems? What are the things? We're all going through things. But imagine you write a problem and you write 20 things by yourself. But imagine if you're in a room or you have buddies in a mastermind and say, hey guys, I got this problem. You have your 20 answers, and you have the 20 answers from everyone else. And you know what? We're not the smartest people by ourselves. We're the smartest people when we're part of a group. And that's the mastermind. That's what that actually is. Yesterday, we had a 4-hour meeting on marketing of podiatric practices here at the AAPPM. And it was led by Andrew, who you mentioned, Snyder, and I. And then we had some other doctors with us and some other folks that are with companies here that do digital marketing. And I had proposed to Andrew that we don't prepare any lectures, and we don't prepare anything. That we and when I told the other presenters, we don't need a slide deck from you. We really don't need anything except for you to come. They were like, what? I mean, what? And so the whole thing was, what are you having an issue with right now? What's your biggest problem? And There's money in that. There's money in that. Yeah. There's not just for you, it's industry transforming. Right, that's right. We have to solve problems. Life is about solving interesting problems. The presenter said, well, I hope somebody says something. And right off the bat, we started rolling. 4 hours later, we ran out of time. That's awesome. So, I mean, that to me is, and that is beyond valuable. Yeah. It's priceless. It's truly, and it does. It transforms people's lives. Now, Rob, if we go 3 years from now in the future, and you look back over the last 3 years, where do you see Top Practices 3 years from now? Anything on the horizon? What are you excited about for the future?
Well,
Don't say you're retiring either.
Okay, then I won't say that.
I'm just joking.
But the whole thing for me is I'm just here to 2X Top Practices and find more doctors that we can help, because we actually have a plan. We have a formula. My doctors, are...
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Well, no. Why would you? And that's like, for instance, every once in a while I'll have a doctor that says, I need to learn how to edit videos because I want to know how to do that. Well, okay, if it's your thing, that's fine. That's almost no one's thing, and who has the time to do that? Why wouldn't you have somebody that's really good at this do this for you? It's just, it's
who, not
amazing.
how, right?
You're right. Yeah. And so my goal is just to help them understand that that everything you read and hear is not true. If you want to be in private practice, look, I've got a doctor. She's solo practice, doing great. She's collecting $1.2 million this year with her and her staff. She's typically in clinic about 18 hours a week for that, and she's going to do that in 48 weeks. Next year, the goal is the same collection goal in 46 weeks. Because she's going to Europe for a cruise for 2 weeks. That's
get your life back.
Right. That's what this is about. I mean, doctors feel like they've been sort of sold a bill of goods. Like, you're gonna be a doctor and
work hard the rest of your life and never have time off.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that. I'll tell you, especially for podiatrists. And if you're thinking about how do you position your podiatry practice as a great place for somebody to work, there's a lot of ways to do that. But one is you have work-life balance built into the way a podiatry practice works. Most healthcare is far more complicated relative to work-life balance, and that's one of the number one problems healthcare workers are having.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Lead with that, because you're not going to beat the hospital on benefit packages and all the rest of that. You can't do that. You're a small company, but you can give people a really good work-life balance. You need to have it yourself, and then create that for everybody else in your practice.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
It's always good to see you, Don.
If people want to learn more, I know there's a link on your site for your mastermind. They can learn more. What's the site?
Just toppractices.com.
Great.
So
thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Good to talk to you.